When people talk about interest today, they talk about rates, 5%, 10%, compounded annually. But almost no one talks about what interest actually does to a society. Nearly 1,000 years ago, long before central banks, credit cards, or national debt, a philosopher named Imam Al-Ghazali looked at interest and reached a brutal conclusion. Interest is not just an economic tool. It is a moral distortion of money itself. Al-Ghazali wasn't predicting stock markets or inflation charts. He was warning about something deeper. What happens when money stops serving society and starts ruling it? And if he were alive today, he wouldn't be surprised. He would say, "I warned you." First, let's be clear about something most people get wrong. Al-Ghazali was not anti-trade. He was not anti-profit. And he was definitely not anti-wealth. His problem was very specific. He believed money had only two legitimate purposes: a medium of exchange, a measure of value. Money, in his view, was never meant to be a commodity itself. Gold doesn't produce wheat. Silver doesn't build houses. Money produces nothing on its own. So when money starts generating more money without work, risk, or production, something has gone wrong. Al-Ghazali called this an unnatural transformation. Money is like a mirror, he wrote. It reflects value but creates none. The moment money begins to multiply itself, it stops being a tool and becomes a weapon. Here's Al-Ghazali's logic: stripped of religion and stripped of emotion. If I lend you money with guaranteed return, then I take no risk. You take all the uncertainty, yet I demand profit regardless of outcome. That is not partnership. That is not cooperation. That is asymmetric power. Al-Ghazali argued that interest allows one person to consume the labor of another without participating in it. In plain terms, one side works, one side waits. Both get paid, but only one bleeds. He believed this destroys trust between people because the relationship is no longer human, it's contractual domination. The lender stops caring whether the borrower survives. Only repayment matters. That's not economics, that's extraction. Now here's where things get uncomfortable. Simple interest was already a problem for Al-Ghazali, but compound interest would have horrified him. Why? Because compound interest separates debt from reality. Debt stops being connected to productivity. It starts growing faster than human effort can ever repay. This is mathematically guaranteed. Compound interest means the longer you live, the more you owe. Time itself becomes an enemy. Freedom decays automatically. Al-Ghazali believed any system where debt grows independently of human capacity is inherently unjust. Because no matter how hard you work, the rules are designed so you never catch up. That's not a loan. That's delayed enslavement. Al-Ghazali's strongest argument wasn't economic. It was ethical. He warned that interest-based systems replace moral judgment with calculation. Once interest dominates, mercy becomes inefficient, forgiveness becomes irrational, community becomes irrelevant. Everything turns into numbers. Your illness doesn't matter. Your family doesn't matter. Your intent doesn't matter. Only repayment schedules do. In such a system, people stop seeing each other as humans. They become risk profiles. Al-Ghazali believed this is how societies rot, not suddenly, but quietly, not through collapse, but through normalization. Now look around. Individuals live on debt. Corporations survive on debt. Countries drown in debt. Education is debt. Housing is debt. Healthcare is debt. Governments don't even pretend they'll repay. They just refinance. This isn't accidental. This is compound interest operating at a civilizational scale. Al-Ghazali warned, when debt becomes normal, collapse becomes invisible. We call it economic growth. He would call it deferred collapse. Al-Ghazali didn't hate money. He feared what money becomes when it is allowed to rule. His message was simple and brutal. Earn profit through participation. Share risk if you expect reward. Never let money reproduce without human effort. Interest, especially compound interest, isn't just a financial mechanism. It is a worldview where the future is permanently mortgaged and freedom exists only for those who already own time. And once you see that, you'll realize the system isn't broken. It's working exactly as designed.